Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Today is the 7th of July, so I'm a full week into the month before I've even opened the vlog, so I do apologise. Hello. A few bits and pieces to tell you about before I get into the book reviews, because I've got 3 books that I finished so far this month, which isn't bad going. Not as good as I hope to do next month. Yeah, so we found out on the 1st of July that our buyers are pulled out. So in case you're new here, we are trying to sell this house and buy another house. We accepted an offer in mid-March on our place, and then 2 weeks later had an offer accepted on a new house. We have a very, very short chain, or had a very, very short chain, and I won't get into the ins and outs of it because obviously it's boring legal stuff, and they will have had their reasons for pulling out, but it's devastating. I can't lie. It's really frustrating. We're about 90% of the way there and they pulled out, which means that we obviously can't buy the house that we want to buy because we're not cajillionaires. And at this moment, we don't know if the person that we are trying to buy from will wait for us to find another buyer. So that's fun. We've had to put the house obviously straight back on the market, which also means we're now back into viewings, and the positive is that we've got a viewing on Tuesday, so in 2 days time, which is great, but it then means that we have to get our house show home ready, declutter everything and make it look as good as possible, obviously, to make it look as appealing as possible. Plus, because we'd accepted an offer on our house in March, so just before spring, I feel like spring's only just really sprung, to be fair, we hadn't bothered with sprucing up the front garden and all of that stuff because we knew we were going to move. And now we're not. And now we need the house to look as good as possible. So we spent a good chunk of time and a good chunk of money in the garden centre yesterday, and then time in the garden front and back sorting it out. So it's just been really frustrating and upsetting and emotional and expensive start to the month. Here comes Savvy. She's just had her dinner. I should also say the washing machine and the dishwasher are on, so I apologise if you can hear machine noises. Sav is not talking to me right now because I fleed them today. So it's literally just a couple of drops of what will feel like water to them on the back of their necks. But anything to do with her neck or her throat, she's clearly got some trauma around. That's why she doesn't wear a collar, because she will be sulking for the next couple of days. So she's not talking to me right now. But yeah, the house stuff is just a real kicker. So yeah, we're waiting to see what the person we're trying to buy from is going to do, and whether we need to start from the start with that and go house hunting and stuff again. And yeah. So that's not been great. Okay, I really hope this isn't an omen for July, because as I was talking, Sav was on the windowsill, which is behind you, and she threw up her dinner, so I just had to clean that up. She's fine. It happens sometimes. I don't know if she eats too fast or too much, but sometimes that happens. Lovely. So some positives I can tell you about, because I've told you about the house stuff, which sucks. Charlie's much better now. He's back at school. If you missed my June vlog, which I'll put in the description as well if you want to see that. It is a mess, that vlog, but that's what my life was last month. He had pneumonia, walking pneumonia, and then he got tonsillitis on top of that. He's now fine. He's back to normal. Went for a sleepover at his friend's house and stuff last night. He's back to school, all of that stuff. So yeah, he's fine. So that's good. What else is happening? I've got 2 weeks left of school. I've got 1 normal week. Well, I've got 4 days this week, and then it's supposed to be sports day on Friday, but the weather forecast is not looking brilliant, so I don't know. But we've got 5 days of normal school, and then we're into activities week, which is where we're completely off timetable. And yeah, I'll tell you more about that as I get into it. So that's exciting. And then it's the summer holidays. Cannot flipping wait. I can't lie. So that's all happening. What else is happening? Oh, I can tell you about my job. So I've mentioned it in passing, but I wanted to wait until my kids at school knew and their parents knew and stuff. And I told my kids last week that I am sort of leaving. I'm staying within the same school, but I'm moving into what we call the ARC, the Autism Resource Centre, and I'm going to be working just with the kids in the ARC. So it's a purpose-built building that was built on our site. They moved in September of this academic year, so last September. So I'm literally at the other end of the playing field. I'm really not going very far, but it means that I won't be teaching in the main school and that I can't stay with my tutor group, which is heartbreaking. So I told them about it this week and introduced them to their new tutor who seems really lovely. She's going to be one of our numerous new members of staff in September. But yeah, I'll be working just with the kids in the ARC. They are all kids who obviously are diagnosed with autism and who, for lots of reasons, can't manage full-time mainstream. And I'll be working with them, teaching them history, English, history, geography and PSHE, I think, but I haven't seen my timetable yet, so we'll see what we get. But definitely English is my like lead subject, obviously. So yeah, that's really exciting. I'm really, really nervous about it. Molly's now scratching the cat scratcher out in the hallway. Gary's done like a full deep hoover, like moved furniture and stuff, so they're all a little bit unsure today. Yeah, so I'm really excited about it. I'm really nervous about it. I have to move out of my classroom this week, which will also be really emotional. And saying goodbye. Well, see you later. Not really goodbye to my kids will also be emotional, but I haven't felt this kind of pull to do something since I became a teacher. So we're going to see how it goes. Now I've got cats running around. I thought they'd be quiet and eat their dinner whilst I film this clip, but clearly not. Right, books. So I finished 3 books since the start of the month. Not bad. I've given all of them 4 stars. I'm clearly in a very 4-star, I enjoyed it but didn't love it kind of mood. The first book that I finished was Practice Makes Perfect by Sarah Adams. Chloe sent me this for Christmas. It's really cute. It's a fake dating scenario kind of. Annie needs some lessons in dating, and so she takes some lessons from Will, and shenanigans unfold from there. I thought this was really cute. I thought some of the writing was a bit basic, especially in the first sort of, well, just kind of every so often we'd hit a patch and I'd be like, this feels like a first draft. But I really, really loved their chemistry. I enjoyed the spicy scenes, of which there are a couple. Well, there is and there isn't. There is definite really good chemistry between them. There's kind of the build up, but then it's not fully explicit, and you know, there is some like closed door stuff happening as well. Yeah, I thought this was really cute and fun, and it was a nice easy read. It's actually the second in a series. It's the second in the When in Rome series, which starts with When in Rome, and I would really like to go back and read that first story. I obviously know what happens because the characters from the first book appear in this book, but that's fine. I would, you know, it's one of those books where like, this is perfect for reading on the beach, reading in a hammock, reading in a day, just chilling, with some cute characters and some really fun chemistry. So yeah, gave that 4 stars. Then I read an audiobook, so I'll put the picture up here. It's quite a long title, so bear with. It was The Ship of Dreams, The Sinking of the Titanic and the End of the Edwardian Era by Gareth Russell. So I read his book about Catherine Howard last month, which was Young and Damned and Fair, and this was narrated by Jenny Funnell, who did a really, really good job, and I saw this on Everam. They recommended it based on what I'd read previously, and again gave this 4 stars. This is a non-fiction book about the Titanic, and what I really liked is we have all the details of the ship, how it was built, the people on board, obviously the sinking and the aftermath, but also he kind of looks at it as this last gasp of the golden Edwardian era, and I really like the social commentary and the discussions around that as well. So yeah, gave that 4 stars. It was obviously desperately sad, and there were times where I was driving home from work and I had to turn it off because of what happened to the Titanic, and I knew that, but also hearing the details of it and hearing eyewitness testimony and all of that kind of stuff was quite tough to read or to listen to as well. And yeah, so I did have to turn it off a couple of times and put some like cheesy musicals on to sing on the way home, but would really recommend it. He's clearly a writer who really thoroughly researches and tries to balance his point of view, so yeah, would really recommend it. If you are, again, I feel like it's a real niche interest, but if you are interested in the Titanic, I would recommend this one. And then I finished my first reread of the month. This was My Best Friend's Exorcism by Grady Hendrix. I first read this, I want to say 2020, I don't know when this came out. I love how floppy this edition is, and I also love that it's supposed to look like a VHS tape. I've now got hiccups. What is this clip? I gave this 5 stars originally, and this came out in 2016. I think I read this in 2020. I originally gave this 5 stars, and as you know, because I've already said, I gave it 4 stars this time around. We are following Abby, who is best friends with Gretchen. They've been best friends since they were kids. And one summer, Gretchen jumps into a lake as a dare and disappears for hours. And when she comes back the next day, she's different. And you can kind of guess from the title where this is going. I really liked this. This is set in the 80s, and there's some brilliantly 80s references. And I just think Grady Hendrix is really good at writing female friendship and that kind of nostalgia that you have for a friendship even when you're in it, and that kind of feeling. And I really liked that. It is a horror. There is body horror in this. There is also 2 scenes of animal torture and death, so just be aware of that. And some of that is quite graphic. If you are someone who is kind of squeamish, I wouldn't pick this up. I knew obviously it was going to happen because I've read it before, and let's just say it'll be a while before I eat ice cream. Just saying. But yeah, I did enjoy this. I gave it 4 stars. I've downgraded it from a 5. I'm not quite sure why I gave it 5 stars last time. I don't know if it's because I wasn't doing half stars and I felt like it was more than a 4, and so I rounded it up. But yeah, it was 4 stars this time around. I did enjoy it. I do love this like fluffy paperback, and it was a good creepy time. Okay, so those are the book reviews, which is actually why you're here, not the general chaos of my life. But anyway, this week, what have we got going on this week? So Monday's a normal day. Tuesday we've got the house viewing. Wednesday I'm at school till about 8:30 because we've got our end of year show. It's happening Wednesday and Thursday. I'm helping out Wednesday, so I'll be there doing tickets and then photographing the performance until late. And then Thursday I've got an x-ray at the hospital because my chest is still really congested. It's now been 4 months. And I've still got the cough and all that kind of stuff. Not as bad as I had it last month, as you have seen. I've managed to get through this section without coughing 500 times. So yeah, I'm going for an x-ray just for them to check out and see what's going on. And then Friday is my head teacher's leaving do, so we're going out for dinner. So I'm not quite sure when I will talk to you next, probably at the weekend, but our weekend is also jam-packed with social stuff. But I will check in as soon as I can. And for now, I need to go and get ready for a busy week. It's the 14th of July and I've got an unexpectedly cuddly Molly who was just wandering around here just off camera. You can just see her tail, so it'll probably be a chaotic clip as usual. Do you want to come up for a quick cuddle? Hi. She's not usually this cuddly. Hi, you see the camera? Which is why you guys don't see as much of her. She is definitely our most independent cat. She's the most cat-like cat that we have, that's for sure. It's the 14th of July, I don't know if I've said that already. And it's been quite the week. You can probably hear my voice how tired I am, but I have made an effort today. We're going out for lunch with a friend of ours, and I decided to kind of make myself feel a bit nicer. I've even got a little bit of makeup on my eyes. I've got some of my Ana Luisa jewellery on, all of that good stuff. Yeah, it's been quite the week. Monday we found out that the house that we've been trying to buy has gone back on the market, obviously because our sale has fallen through. We had a viewing on Tuesday. They loved the house. They didn't like the location, which obviously we can do nothing about. Wednesday I was at the school production, which was just fantastic. It was a very, very long day. I think I was at school for 15 hours, but it was totally worth it. The kids were amazing. I cried 3 separate times because I was just so proud of them all. And yeah, it was just a lovely, lovely evening. Apologies if you can hear Molly now grooming herself. She's just behind the camera. So that was Wednesday. Thursday, I went for my chest x-ray at the hospital. It was easy. I was in and out in about 60 seconds, I think. And the technician was really nice, and now I've got to wait a couple of weeks for results, so just waiting on that. Although I think my cough is headed out, but whooping cough used to be known as the 100-day cough, and I'm in like the 80s range in terms of number of days, so I think it is on the way out. But anyway, we will see what, if anything, that x-ray brings up. And then Thursday was also sports day, which turned out to be one of my best teaching days possibly ever. I was nervous about it because I'd never done one before as a teacher because of COVID and then the weather, the great British weather. But we had a beautiful day for it. It was bright blue skies, sunshine, but not too hot. I have got a little bit of a farmer's tan going on. Like, my arms are starting to turn brown, but this is like very much white. But I wasn't too much. And I just had the best day with my tutor group, with them all day. Sat in the sunshine, cheering each other on, talking about nothing, just having the nicest time. And then Friday was the final kind of work, like proper school day. We've got next week as activities week. But it was our last like proper day of lessons and stuff, and that was really emotional. I'd packed up my classroom on the Wednesday and like stripped everything out, and it looks super flipping weird. And then yeah, it was quite emotional Friday. I did cry a couple of times, saying goodbye to kids and saying goodbye to my tutor group in particular, who I've just been such a joy and a massive stress at times as well over the last 3 years. They gave me a spontaneous round of applause, which did set me off. And then we had our celebration assembly, and then after school we had the head teacher's leaving do. So there's been a lot going on, and it's all been quite emotional and quite intense. And then yesterday we hosted my brother-in-law's 50th birthday, so I cooked a roast. My mother-in-law made another fantastic cake, which I'll put a picture of up here, because he loves penguins, so she went with the whole penguin theme. And it was only really yesterday evening that I was able to properly like flomp. Because like I said, it's been a really emotional week and a really intense week and a lot going on and a lot to think about. There's also some back and forth going on with me and SLT about my timetable for next year. So that's been quite stressful too. Today, like I said, we're going out for lunch with a friend of ours, and I might have my second roast of the weekend. I can't lie. But like I said, I thought I'd kind of dress up and make an effort. One, because we're going to go see a friend of ours, and two, to try and make myself feel a bit nicer, because you can see my skin is really bad at the moment. It's breaking out a lot and kind of just, it's not great. So I have ordered some slightly more expensive skincare than I usually would, which I'll probably put in B-roll, but I know it works. And I know this is because I am run down, exhausted, and also not making my best food choices. And I know it will clear up over the summer as I relax and all that kind of stuff, but at the moment I am a little bit like conscious of it, don't love it. But anyway, still chatting to you on camera. So that's all the stuff that's been going on. I finished 2 books, and then 2 lovely people have sent me parcels, and they've been sat here like all week waiting for me to be ready to film and have the energy to film. So we're going to do that. So first of all, I finished my second reread of the month, which was Wanda Smith by Jessica Townsend. This is book 2 in the Morrigan Crow series. We also had the news this week that book 4, which is Silverborn, and is supposed to have been coming out in September, October time, is now been pushed back again to May of next year, which is the 3rd or 4th time it's been pushed back. I know there have been lots of reasons. I know the author's been poorly. I know the book that she's written is longer. I know there's been some publishing delays. I think this time it's publishing delays. I'm starting to wonder if we're ever going to get it, and I'm slightly starting to run out of patience. It also doesn't help that I don't like the cover art that I've seen, and I know the version that she's released is the American and Australian editions, but it looks so different from this. So I'm really hoping they do a UK edition that follows this theme that's been set, because if they change it mid-series, I will probably tap out. But we'll see what we get. I'm going to continue with my reread because I'm enjoying it anyway. So I'm still going to read Hollypocks next month. And like I said, this is book 2 in the Morrigan Crow series, which is a middle grade with magic, found family, food, and a giant talking cat. So you can probably see why I love it. I gave this 4.5, I think, this time round. I think I gave it a 5 first time round, but like I said before, this was before I was doing half stars. I really enjoyed this story, and obviously I can't talk about it because it's the second one. I think for me, there's still a slight lack of world building, and I don't know if it's also because I've now read like Tolkien and other fantasy writers who do an incredible job of world building, and that's what I'm coming to expect. But it feels like there's still a little bit of world building missing, and also my like teacher brain was really frustrated with the lack of safeguarding at Morrigan School, and I realise that's a real nitpicky and probably just something that maybe it's just me that notices it, or maybe only people that work in schools, but I was really bothered by the lack of safeguarding. But yeah, I loved it. It's a great story, it's a great series, and let's just hope we get some more of it in the not too distant future. Anyway, then yesterday I sat and finished Earthlings by Sayaka Murata. This was sent to me for Christmas by Chloe, and this is the note. Where is the note? that she put into it, right? So she put this really cute note in and said, "This book is incredibly weird. I'm passing this over to you so that you have no guilt over DNFing. Read as much or as little as you can stomach." And I was like, what does she mean as much as I can stomach? Because the cover is really cute. We've got this nice bright neon background and this cute little creature, which turns out is a hedgehog at the bottom. And it says on the back that we're following Natsuki, who believes she's an alien, a different species to her family, and we follow her as an adult when she is living in an asexual marriage with a man, and she's going back to see her cousin and like childhood best friend at her grandfather's house. And I was like, okay. The first 70 pages of this, I was like, this is going to be a 5-star. This is so well written. It's got some incredibly dark themes. Like, this cover does not give you any clue of what is inside this book. I'm going to give some content warnings in a minute, which will be spoilers. So if you don't want to know anything about this book, skip on until maybe I'm opening my Amazon parcel. Because I can't really talk about this book without talking about content warnings. So first 100 pages, so like I said, I thought it was going to be a 5-star. Very, very dark, very weird. But I thought the writing was beautiful. Then we get into the second half and it just, you think it's reached like peak crazy and then it keeps going. And by the time I got to the end, it was so mad. I had no idea what the point was. I felt like we'd completely lost sight of the point that the author was trying to make. The first 100 pages, I feel like this book is about trauma and trauma responses, because Natsuki, and hopefully I'm saying that right, is a child. She is abused as a child by her teacher, physically and sexually abused by him. She's also emotionally abused and physically abused by her mother and her sister. And as part of this abuse that she suffers, her trauma response is to withdraw and to kind of, in her head, one of her survival methods is, I'm an alien, I'm not really part of this group of people, I'm going to be rescued one day, that kind of thing. And I thought that was gorgeously done. There is also, we go follow her as a child when they go into the mountains to her grandparents' house for a family celebration, and she sees her cousin Yu, and they have this very intense friendship, which then becomes a sexual relationship. So you have this incest storyline as well, and this kind of childhood sexual activity happening. So there's a lot going on in a very small book. And like I said, the first 100 pages, I was like, this is really dark. I can see why people think this is weird. Obviously, there are things in it that are weird and are socially unacceptable. But it feels like she's talking about trauma, and I feel like she's doing it really well. Then the second half kicked in and it just all went completely, you know what, like just completely mad. And by the end, I was like, I don't know what the point was. So I've given it 3 stars. I feel like it's one I will definitely think about. But yeah, I was literally texting Chloe last night and also chatting to Olivia Savannah on Instagram as well, because she's read it, being like, I have no idea how I'm going to review this book. So hopefully I've at least had a stab at it. There are also content warnings in this for cannibalism and body horror. I read the last part of this last night on the sofa next to my husband, and I had to keep taking breaks. I think this is darker, that's Molly jumping down, and weirder than Tender as the Flesh, because Tender as the Flesh, which is by Augustina Bastarrica, which is a book about cannibalism and one of my favourite books of all time, that is very upfront with what you're getting. This, it just, yeah, every time you think it's done being weird, there's another level of weird underneath. So be very careful picking this up. I've seen a lot of people picking this up recently because the cover is cute and bright and it's translated fiction and all of that stuff. But it just, I don't even know what to say. 3 stars. It's a time. Okay, let's move on and open these 2 parcels. Like I said, they have been here for a week and I feel terrible that I haven't opened them yet. I can't remember which order they came in. One of them is really seriously dented, but I have not peeked. I've been good. And sorry, Moles is now going into a cardboard box under the desk that she's not supposed to sleep in. But anyway, let's see what these are. So, usual disclaimer, you guys do not need to send me things. I do not expect it. I hugely appreciate it when it does happen, but you really, really don't have to do it. So just, be aware of that. But thank you to these people who have been kind enough to send something my way. Great. That's a good start. This is why I don't like unboxing things. Oh, my days. Right, let's open this down here so I can rip it a bit more. There we go. Right, we are in. Okay. So gift note first, if I can find one, if Amazon's put one in. Yes. Oh, it's from Melinda. She said, "Hi Victoria, God bless you and dealing with all you've dealt with recently. Thank you. I hope this book is a fun, light read and it lifts your spirits like you always do for me with your vlogs. Sending hugs, Melinda." Thank you so much, Melinda. This is really, really lovely of you. Which book have you picked me? Oh, yes. I really wanted to read this. This has been on my, like, if I see it in a bookshop, I'm going to pick it up. This is At First Bite by Olivia Dade. I have heard so much about this book, mostly from Brie at Four Paws in a Book and Brittany. Brittany loves reading. Brittany loves books. One of those. Sorry, Brittany. And this is an enemies to lovers romance. And I think we've got a plus size, from the look of it, a plus size protagonist as well, which is really exciting. I'm so chuffed to have this in my hands. This is very, very exciting. It might have to be a September read, unless I can fit it in this month. Or I could swap out one of my books from my August TBR. Anyway, I will read this really, really soon. So thank you so much, Melinda. That has really made my day. That is absolutely excellent choice. Okay, so we've got that one. And then let's open this parcel. It's on this side this time. Oh, there we go. What is this? What is this book? This is massive. Oh, there's something else in here as well. Okay, hang on. Let's do a gift note first. So, oh, from Michelle. I just wanted you to have a small pick-me-up amongst all the craziness. Hope you get to enjoy sooner rather than later, from Michelle. Thank you so much. This is really lovely. I do keep the gift notes and put them in. There's two things in here. So let's go for the thing that's not a book, because I'm really confused as to what this is. What is that? Oh, this is the little box of sleep. These are Pulse Points rollerballs. Breathe deep, true comfort, sleep better. I really wanted to try these out. I don't actually have a problem getting to sleep. I tend to just crash out. But I feel like this might just like make bedtime a little bit nicer. Thank you so much. That's really, really sweet. Okay, what is the book? Because I was really confused by this parcel, because I was like, the book's like really long and thin, but it's obviously because they'd put that in as well, which is so kind. Okay, what is the book? Oh, yes! Devil's Advocate by Steve Kavanagh. Obviously, I curate my wish list, so I know what's on there. But I haven't read a Steve Kavanagh for ages, and I've really, really enjoyed him before. He won every trial because he's behind every murder. I feel like, yeah, it's the 13 series, or the defence. What is the name? Eddie Flynn. This is part of the Eddie Flynn series, which I've read before, but not for ages. Let's read the back really quickly together. Ambitious District Attorney Randall Corn lives to watch prisoners executed, even if they're not guilty. An innocent man, Andy Dubois, faces the death penalty for the murder of a young girl. Corn has already fixed things to make sure he wins a fast conviction. The one thing Corn didn't count on was Eddie Flynn. Slick, street smart and cunning, the former con artist turned New York lawyer has only 7 days to save an innocent man from a corrupt system and find the real killer. In a week, the judge will read the verdict, but will Eddie still be alive to hear it? I feel like this is the next or maybe last in the series. This is very exciting, and I feel like will be a really, really quick read. So thank you very much, Michelle, for that one. Like, so nice. Thank you so much, ladies. That's really made my day. Right, for now, I am going to grab the husband, go to a pub with our friend and have a nice lunch, and then try and relax before the chaos of activities week, which is coming next week. At the moment, I am doing sports tomorrow. I'm in the sports department tomorrow. Music on Tuesday, which I think would be very loud and chaotic. Art department on Wednesday, and then Thursday and Friday I'm out on trips to a local theme park, which will be really fun. In amongst all of that, I also have to go and clear out what is going to be my classroom, because it's not had a teacher living in it since Christmas and it's become like a dumping zone. So I need to go and clear that out, which will probably take me a couple of days, and then move all my stuff over and make that space feel like home, because come September, it will be. It's the 19th of July. I am a hot, sweaty mess, and I'm going to do a proper update for you in a minute. For me, it'll be tomorrow. But I just want to say, I've completed my 4th year of teaching. It is the summer holidays, and I could not be more ready for rest. It's the 24th of July, and I know I was wearing this dress in the last clip, but I promise it's been washed since I spoke to you last. I've also had my hair cut, just a little bit of a tidy up. I think I'm going to grow it long. What do we think? So yeah, it was just a bit of a like cutting off dead ends and stuff, split ends, and a bit of a tidy up yesterday. I feel like I've got loads to talk to you about. I have finished 6 books. I've also had 7 books come in, although only 6 count for my TBR, which I'll explain in a minute. And obviously I haven't told you about the last week of term yet because you just had that very like rushed, emotional, sweaty clip of me on the final day of term. So yeah, the last week was a lot, as always. I moved from my old classroom into my new classroom, which was super emotional, plus hot and sweaty. It was hard work. And we had activities week. So Monday I was with the sports department. We all know how sporty I am. And the weather was terrible. It was really, really wet. So we had to have all the kids in the sports hall. So it was very loud and very sweaty and a bit gross. But the kids had fun. Tuesday I was technically on music, but my colleague didn't really need me. We didn't have that many kids. So I spent most of the day moving my classroom and unpacking and setting it up, which I've shown you a little bit of. And then Wednesday I had to rotate because we didn't have enough staff. So I was rotating between sport, art and drama, which was a very active day. I must have walked a few thousand steps on Wednesday. And then Thursday and Friday, as you will have seen, we were at a local amusement, well, local-ish, it's about an hour away from us, amusement park, which the kids had the best time at. It's not the best, but it's ideal for like school trips because it's not so huge that like the kids all disappear and you kind of lose them. But there were enough rides to keep them interested all day. And yeah, it was very hot. As you can see, I got burnt here and on my shoulders. As usual, I was wearing Factor 50 sunscreen and I reapplied it twice through the day. But anyway, so yeah, it was a good week. It was emotional. There's also been some back and forth with the higher ups about my timetable, which I don't enjoy. And it's still not been resolved. So that's going to have to wait now till September. But yeah, another year done. 4th year of teaching, completed it. And then the last few days, I just have not felt like filming. I've been exhausted. And like when I tell you that I've fallen asleep pretty much every day on the sofa, I went for a 2-hour nap yesterday. So I'm just really exhausted and trying to be gentle with myself and recharge and not force myself in front of a camera. But today I need to talk to you because like I said, I've got 6 books I finished, 7 I've hauled, and tomorrow I'm seeing Chloe. So there'll be loads of B-roll footage tomorrow. So I kind of wanted to like put a clip in here before that B-roll starts. So yeah, I had a lovely weekend with Charlie. He was also very tired, so it was a very chill weekend. And Gary, obviously, he went on his first carpentry course and he made this stall just here. I'll put a better picture up here so that you can see it. It's beautiful. I'm so proud of him. And he really enjoyed it, which is obviously the main point. And then Monday, didn't do much of anything. Yesterday, I went for a haircut and then popped into a local town to get a second-hand book to fill that part of the bingo board for Charlotte's Readathon, and I'll show you the results of that in a minute. And then today I'm off for a smear test. So there's a new word for it. Is it the cervical check, I think is what they're calling it now, but it's a smear test. Not something I enjoy doing, but really, really important. If you're in the UK and you are the owner of a cervix, as I am, you will get called every 3 years, I think it is, from the time you turn 25. for a check, and it's really, really important that you do it. I will leave a link in the description to the NHS website which explains what it is, how it works, why it's important. Yes, it is uncomfortable. I'm not looking forward to it this morning. I'm expecting some cramping this afternoon, but a few minutes of discomfort could save your life. So yes, I'm going to go and get that done this afternoon. Technically it's not due till August, but I didn't really want to hang it over me the whole summer. So I'm gonna get that done today, and then tomorrow I'm going to see Chloe. Like I said, she is between jobs. She's got like a week off between her old job and her new job, and she texted me last week and she was like, do you want to go to Bristol? And I was like, yeah, I do. So we're gonna go book shopping, mooching, and we're gonna go to Zaza's, which is like one of the biggest buffets in the UK, I think, and I've never been, so I'm really excited about that tomorrow. So yeah, that's what's happening this week. Let's talk about books. I've had a very 4-star, I've had a run of 4 stars, which is obviously a good thing. I've had one 5-star, which I'm going to talk about first because that's the first book I finished. Then a run of 4s, and then a 4.5 to finish off. And I'm nearly finished with another book. I'm on such a reading roll. One thing I have been doing lots of is reading the last few days, which is great. So my 5-star started off as an audiobook, and then we know I love an audiobook when I buy a physical copy, and that is Love Like Farms by B.K. Borison. I've seen a bunch of people read this book in the last year or so and recommend it. I can't even think off the top of my head specifically, just loads of people. I know this book has been really loved. It was available on Everand, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to give this a go. I was more interested in the second book in the series, which is In the Weeds, I think, but I wanted to read them. They are kind of companion novels, but the completionist in me wanted to read them in order. So I picked up this one, and technically it's a Christmas book. Well, I would say it's a Thanksgiving book. We're set on a Christmas tree farm, and it's sort of like October, November time when most of it happens. It's not a Christmas book. I feel if you pick this up expecting a Christmas book, you'd probably be disappointed, but I think it's a perfect read for October, November. I read it in the heat of July. It was fine. The audiobook was awesome, by the way. I would highly recommend that, but as I got sort of 2/3 through, I was like, I want a physical copy of this, so I treated myself to that. And we are following, what is her name, Stella, who is the owner of the Christmas tree farm, and it's failing. There are various things that are going wrong, and so she enters a social media competition, and in order to make her entry more attractive, she lies on her entry form and says that she owns it with her boyfriend. She doesn't have a boyfriend, so she ropes in her best friend, what is his name, Luca. So she ropes in Luca to be her fake boyfriend. They've been best friends for years, and it's about what happens. I'm not really going to say any more than that. I loved this. Obviously, I gave it 5 stars. It's so cute. I really loved the found family. There are gorgeous descriptions of food, which we're going to get more of, I think, in Mixed Signals, which is book 3. Or I hope we are. Luca is this like perfect, like golden retriever, like soft boy. I really liked Stella. There's a bit of like gentle mystery. I liked how the miscommunication was dealt with. There is a 3rd act breakup, but it was dealt with really quickly and in a way that I felt was really realistic. And yeah, I just couldn't find any fault in it. It is spicy. I also enjoyed those scenes, and I just thought it was fantastic. So I gave it 5 stars. I can't wait to read the second one. I'm actually making myself wait before I pick up the second one, because I feel like I could just binge all 3, well 4 now, because I think the latest one's just come out. So yeah, really enjoyed that, and it was a surprise, and we love a surprise 5-star. So that was that one. The next one was a very different mood. You're probably going to get whiplash from the change in mood. This is also an audiobook, so I'll put a picture up here, and the title is quite a long one, so bear with me. Is Nazi Wives, The Women at the Top of Hitler's Germany by James Wiley, and it was narrated by Dela Raphael, and I gave it 4.5 stars. This was really interesting. This was just a random Everand pick. I think they recommended it after I read the Titanic book. Was that earlier this month? I feel like it was. And it was just a really interesting, dark non-fiction about the women who were married to the top people in Hitler's Nazi Germany. Obviously, it's super dark. It touches on some of the atrocities that happened, but it also just looks at the 5 women who were at the top of Nazi Germany and looks at what they knew, their political leanings, what life was like inside the Nazi party. I'm not sure I learned anything particularly new, except I hadn't realised quite how ingrained suicide was in that kind of, in their society, in their kind of social normities. And yeah, in a really dark way, it was interesting. I would recommend it if you're interested in that period in history. I feel like it was well researched and quite balanced in the way it looks at the women, but obviously check content warnings because parts of it are obviously very, very dark. I've now got hiccups. How very helpful. Okay, then I had a 4-star, which obviously a 4-star is a really good rating, but I really thought this was going to be a 5-star, so I'm like a tiny bit disappointed in it. I did, however, really enjoy reading it, so I'm a bit torn on this one. And that was, you saw this in the B-roll, Creen Bee by Juno Dawson. This is the novella prequel to HMRC, Her Majesty's Royal Coven. I went for the very swanky, sprayed-edged, signed edition to match my other swanky sprayed-edged signed editions. I also really like the colour of the end pages. There's nothing particularly exciting on the hardback. I feel like they could have like done something here. But anyway, this follows, what is her name? I'm so awful with names. Grace. It's 1536 and Anne Boleyn has just been beheaded, and we follow Grace, who is trying to hunt down, she's part of Anne Boleyn's coven, and she's trying to hunt down who has betrayed Anne Boleyn and handed her over to the authorities. We also go back in time to just before Anne Boleyn married Henry VIII, and we see hers and Grace's kind of relationship develop from there. This was fun. I really enjoyed Grace's character. I enjoyed how Anne Boleyn was portrayed. I enjoy this kind of slant on history with this kind of fantasy element of the witchcraft. I think I'm just disappointed because I don't see how this links up to HMRC. I really thought we were going to have like a direct link. And the whole premise of HMRC is that Elizabeth I, Anne Boleyn's daughter, created Her Majesty's Royal Coven. And I'm not seeing the link. Maybe I'm dumb, maybe I missed it. But I kind of came away from it and I was a bit like, that was fun. Not sure what the point was. So that's why I got 4 stars. Juno Dawson's writing, as always, is gorgeous. I would read her shopping list. Like, if she decided to rewrite the dictionary, I would read that as well. So because I'm a massive fan of her and this series in general, it got 4 stars. I don't feel like you need to read this in order to read HMRC. I feel like even if you read this first and then read HMRC, like, you're not going to see the links. 4 stars. We have had the announcement that Human Rights, I was going to say Burial Rights is a very different book. Human Rights is coming out next, I'm going to say summer because I can't remember which month it is, which is very exciting, and I have pre-ordered that one, to be fair. But yeah, this one was good. Did I see the links? No. Okay, then I read The Goodbye Cat by Hiro Arikara. I'm sorry, that's definitely wrong. That's the name there. This was for I then started on the books for Charlotte's Readathon. This was for Cat on the Cover, because obviously. And this is 7 short stories about cats, basically. Translated Japanese fiction. I cannot remember it's translated by Philip Gabriel. My boss gifted me this maybe for Christmas. I enjoyed this. I gave this 4 stars. I have enjoyed this a lot more than other translated Japanese fiction that I've read. It did feel a little bit repetitive. It was all kind of like soft, sad stories about cats, and I did enjoy it. It didn't get any emotional response from me, which is why I landed on a 4. I feel like if you are interested in this kind of fiction, this would be a good place to start, because like I said, it's short stories, so you don't have to like commit to a whole novella, a novel even. And yeah, I had a nice time. I don't really have loads to say on this one. It was 4 stars. I enjoyed it. I read it over a week. I read one a day. I do that with short stories because I feel like it helps me kind of break up the stories in my head and assess them individually. So yeah, it was nice. I had a nice time. 4 stars. Then I read another one of Charlotte's picks. This is Happy Hour by Cressida McLaughlin. We are following Jess and Ash. So Jess works in Greenwich Market. That's quite important. Big plot point of the story. Well done me. And one day she bumps into this guy Ash in the market, and they start having coffee together once a week. They have 1 hour on a Sunday before Ash has to go to an appointment, and it goes from there. I don't want to say too much about it. I really enjoyed this. I gave this 4 stars. I really was cheering on Jess and Ash. Their relationship's so cute. I loved their little dates that they were going on. I love the found family, because all of the people in the market and like Jess's friends and family become like a found family around them, which I really loved. Excellent descriptions of food, so lots to enjoy. There are some darker themes in this, so just check content warnings before you pick it up. I would say that it's mostly closed door. There are some sexual references, but there's not really much on page. There's some kissing, there's some good tension, but most of it's closed door. So if you're looking for something that's a little bit more gentle, then you can go with this. I also love this cover. I felt this is a beautiful cover. I really enjoyed this. I feel like I could only give it 4 stars because there was a lot of miscommunication going on, and I found that quite frustrating, especially from Ash, who's a therapist or a psychiatrist. I was a bit like, you should be better at communicating than this. So there was a little bit of that, and also there is a 3rd act breakup, but it drags on for ages, and I felt like the end was really rushed. I also need to stop reading epilogues to romance books because the epilogue in this just really irritated me, because the characters are suddenly making decisions that felt really out of character. I don't know, but I did enjoy it. Like the majority of it I really enjoyed. Gave it 4 stars. It was a cute read, would definitely recommend it, and like I said, this cover is just beautiful. So that was that one. And then the last one that I finished, I very nearly finished, another one which I'll probably talk to you about tomorrow. This is another Charlotte recommendation, and this was for Fat Rep on her bingo board, and that was One to Watch by Kate Stamen London. I really enjoyed this. I gave this 4.5 stars. I've seen quite a few people talk about this. I feel like Brittany was talking about it. Bree's definitely read it. Probably a couple of others that I'm forgetting. I really like this. Obviously Charlotte's read it, and like I said, I gave it 4.5 stars. So we are following Bee, who is plus size, and she's a plus size influencer, and she gets her heart broken by the man who's supposed to be her best friend. The start of this gave me major The Holiday vibes, the Kate Winslet storyline from that, major vibes of that, which I enjoyed. And I did text Charlotte and I was like, I want to kick insert character name in the nuts because he's awful. Anyway, so she's heartbroken and she's watching a reality show with her best friend one night that they really enjoy, which is called Main Squeeze, which is basically The Bachelor. So you've got one person and they have 25 people who are competing to fall in love with them and get engaged at the end. And Bea is watching this one day, and she writes on her blog about how ridiculous it is that every single woman on these shows are size 0 and white and able-bodied, and there's no diversity. And that blog post goes viral. And in response, the production company, come to Bea and say, come and be our main squeeze, come and be the kind of bachelorette. And after lots of umming and ahhing and being shoved into it basically by her best friend, though not the one that broke her heart, her other best friend, she agrees. And we follow her through this process. And I really enjoyed this. I completely fell in love with Bea. I was cheering her on all the way. I feel like I only gave it 4.5 because I felt like it was super obvious where it was going to go, especially the ending. And also each chapter is split into episodes. So you have like pre-production, and then from there we have like episode 1, and it tells you how many men are left, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, so showtime, 25 men left, which is what she starts with, so I won't show you anymore because that'd be spoilers. And I feel like we missed some of the key moments. Some of the key moments we don't actually see through Bee's eyes. There are one other thing I really liked about it, there's like lots of mixed media. There's emails, there's text conversations between various people, they're like chat rooms, message boards, all about the show, which is really fun. But some of the key moments we see through that rather than through Bee's eyes, and I was like, I feel like I'd be a lot more attached to this if we were seeing it from her perspective. So I couldn't give it a full 5 stars. I did, however, really enjoy it. It was a great recommendation for Fat Rep as well. And yeah, 4.5 stars. Really enjoyed it. Okay, then let's talk about books that have come in. So this one doesn't count because I've technically already read it. But this is The Tides of Waterloo by E.B. Davis. This is my cousin. I could not be any prouder of them. They also did the illustrations. So they illustrated this and the back. They also illustrated, oh, that's their note to me, bookmark, which is just absolutely gorgeous, and the map. And I think there are illustrations all the way through. Yeah, there are. Like, it's so cute. They are so ridiculously talented. And I actually read this, I think it was at Easter, and took my red pen to their manuscript. To be fair, there wasn't very much for me to red pen, just a few bits and pieces to help them tidy it up. And now it's real and in my hands, which is very exciting. And this is a little middle grade fantasy adventure set at Watermouth Castle, which is where my cousin works. And I loved it. Absolutely loved it. I will leave a link to where you can get it if I can find it. But yeah, loved it. So this will go on my shelf next to their first book, which is also based at the theme park where they work. And yeah, just a really fun, cool thing to have in my hands. And then yesterday, like I said, I went for a haircut, and then we needed a pint of milk. So I went to a local town, and one of the squares on the bingo board for Charlotte's readathon is to buy a secondhand book. And I came back with 6 secondhand books. Whoops! This entire stack cost me £5.50, and it was for the Cats Protection League. So I feel like it was money well spent. I'm going to run through these fairly quickly because I've already been talking for like 20 minutes and I need to get to the doctors very shortly. So the first one I picked up was 50p. This is on the table outside. This is 50p because it's really badly water damaged. I'm not even sure if it's going to show up on camera, but this front cover, like, this has clearly been in someone's bath. But this is Mad Honey by Jodie Picoult and Jennifer Finney Boylan. I've seen this doing the rounds. I love this cover, even though this is a wrecked version. And then I read the back and I was like, okay. It says, the body of an 18-year-old girl is found at the bottom of the stairs in her family home. Only 2 people know the truth behind what happened. One of them is dead and the other is your son. And I was like, sold. So I grabbed that one. Then, because obviously I picked up and enjoyed The Happy Hour, nearly dropped that, by Cressida McLaughlin, I then saw in the charity shop the Cornish Cream Tea Bus by Cressida McLaughlin, and I was like, that looks really cute and summery and fun. And I thought, you know what, I know Charlotte loves this series, and this is in not bad condition. The spine is quite cracked, but the cover's, like, front cover's fine, and it's just adorable. So I'm gonna read this at some point. Do I need to tell you what it's about? I think it's really obvious from the title what it's about. And it just says at the top, a wonderful ray of reading sunshine by Heidi Swain. I was like, yeah, sure, let's give that a go. And then I saw a complete set of noughts and crosses. I mean, I've got hiccups really badly. There are 2 novellas which come between book 1 and book 2, but I think I can get those on Everand if I want to read them, and you don't have to read them to read the rest of the story. They are quite beaten up, but I've been wanting to reread the series for ages. We teach noughts and crosses to year 8. We do the play version, and I've been meaning to reread the actual novel for ages. So when I saw them, I was like, I will have those, especially for £1 a book. And it's for the Cats Protection League. So we've got Noughts and Crosses, Knife Edge. I'm also obsessed with these covers. How cool are these covers? Knife Edge, Checkmate, which is the most beat up. This spine is like properly cracked. And Double Cross. So I'm going to reread these at some point, probably towards the end of the year. And then once I've reread them, they can go into either my classroom library or the main school library, because I know some kids that will want to read these. So yeah, I did bring 6 books into the house yesterday. But if you haven't seen it yet, I'll link it below. I'm going to attempt 31 and 31 in August. I'll put my TBR video in the description, which means my shelves will hopefully need refilling, because even if I don't get to 31, I feel like I'll get into the high 20s. So I will need some more books, and it's for a good cause. Okay, I'm going to stop waffling. I'm going to go and put these books away, and then I'm going to get myself to the doctor's surgery for an inevitably uncomfortable 15 minutes. But it's important. Please make sure you do it if you get a letter. And then tomorrow, I have a chill afternoon this afternoon. And then tomorrow, I'm going to go and see Chloe in Bristol. And we're going to mooch around, probably buy some books, and eat a whole bunch of food. it's the 26th of July and you're now sat on the stool that Gary made, that I showed you in the last clip. And could the lighting be better if I was in a different corner of the room? Yes. Am I going to move? No, because I can't be bothered. So we're going to make this work. As you can see, I'm in full thumb mode today. I've also got the washing on and the cats are running around and Gary's upstairs working. So apologies for background noise, but this is my life. I had such a nice day with Chloe yesterday. I knew we were gonna have a good day. We always have a good time. But I could like literally feel my brain relaxing as we went through the day. It was so lovely. I will put a picture up here of the two of us. I may also put it in the thumbnail. I don't know at this particular moment, but probably. And yeah, we just had a really lovely day. And yeah, I always had the best time with her. I really loved Zaza's. It was a definite experience. I'm probably taking Charlie and his friend back next Wednesday when I have them for a sleepover. Just waiting on the friend's mum to confirm if that's okay. Yeah, it was really fun. The food was good. It's definitely an experience. And yeah, we just had the best time. So yeah, I've got some books to talk to you about. I've got one I finished, one I've DNF'd, and then two that I bought yesterday. I don't think two is too bad. But yeah, the first book that I finished, well, the book that I finished is The Pairing by Casey McQuiston. I was very kindly sent this in exchange for an honest review by Book Break, and it comes out on the 6th of August. I loved this, so let's just get that out of the way first of all. 4.5 stars, I thought it was brilliant. We are following Theo and Kit, who are a pair of exes who wind up on the same food tour 4 years after they broke up. And they decide to create this competition to see who can have the most hookups as they travel around Europe and go on this food tour. So lots of things that I love, descriptions of food, which were absolutely top notch. Really good chemistry between the main characters and the side characters. You also kind of get this found family vibe by the end because they're on this coach with this group of like 30 people for 3 weeks. And you kind of get to know some of the other characters really well. So I really enjoyed that. It's very spicy. It's got one of the naughtiest opening lines I've ever read. Technically, it's not the opening line because it's the opening line to the second chapter, but like the first couple of chapters are so short that like it's pretty much the same. But yeah, I can't even read it out loud because I'll probably get demonetized. I can't remember which book it was. It wasn't this one, but Brianna from Four Paws in a Book was talking about another romance book recently, and she was like, every time I turn around, they're having sex. That's what this book is as well. I feel like it was done really well though. It's not just like straight up smut. There is a storyline and there's a reason behind stuff, and there's some conversations about sexuality and gender that I really enjoyed. But there is also an awful lot of spice in this book, and it is like top level like hotness. I've learned some things from this book, I can't lie. And yeah, I just thought it was a really good time. I gave it 4.5 only because we start off in Theo's perspective, and then halfway through we switched to Kit, and I didn't like Kit anywhere near as much as I like Theo. And there was a particular conversation that I thought would have been better from Theo's point of view rather than Kit's. I just found Kit a little bit annoying. He was a little bit not like other boys. I don't know, just yeah, I didn't love him as much as I love Theo, and I felt like the end was a little bit rushed, even though this is a 400-page book. I did, however, fly through this. I read this in about a day and a half. I would easily have read it in one day if I'd started earlier in the day. So yeah, really enjoyed that one, and like I said, it's out on the 6th of August. It's got a very cool cover, and yeah, really enjoyed that. Then I've had a DNF. What have I done with it? I had a little bit of sticker with the thing on it. Oh, I put it somewhere. Whoops, there's Jack. But I DNF'd Rewind by Catherine Ryan Howard. I'll put the cover up here, obviously. And I was reading it on Everand. I can't remember who the narrator was. That's why I wrote it down on my slip of paper, which has got lost somewhere. And I need to start reading this author. I think I said that last time I read one of hers, but she's always got really interesting premise. And this one like hooked me because it was that there's someone watching an Airbnb or a hotel room, and they see a murder happen, and it's caught on tape, but you as the audience are only coming in partway through, and you have to rewind the tape to find out what actually happened. And I was like, it's kind of got like Gone Girl vibes, kind of. Am I in focus? Have I been talking this whole time not in focus? I don't know if that helped. yeah, I thought, okay, kind of Gone Girl vibes. I got 25% in and I was like, I don't know who anyone is. I don't know what's going on. And worst of all, I don't care. So I've DNF'd that one because there is no time for books that I'm not enjoying. So yeah, that was a DNF, unfortunately. I think that's the first DNF of the month though, which is not bad given that we're coming towards the end of the month. And then books that I bought yesterday. So I bought 2. I will put a picture up here of my like full haul. I did also do some like boring Primark basics shopping, which I won't show you because you don't need to see that. But yeah, Chloe and I had a brilliant time, and you can see here all the bits that I got. The drinks, we went into an Asian supermarket and I could have bought so much stuff in there, like so many interesting things. But I bought 3 drinks. I bought 2 bubble teas and a banana milk, which I will try, and I'll film me trying it and I'll let you know what I think, because I love fake banana. Chloe said it's good, but we'll see. So we'll see what those are like. But in terms of books, I bought 2, as you can see from this picture. First of all, I picked up The Spell Shop by Sarah Beth Durst. I didn't even know this was out yet. I was really excited when I saw it in Waterstones. As you can see, I got it with £3 off. And it just says, every home needs a little magic. I love this cover. It's just gorgeous. I'm going to read you a tiny bit of the synopsis. I won't read the whole thing. It says, The Spell Shop is a heartwarming, let's hold it so you can see the cover, a heartwarming, cozy fantasy about stolen spell books, starting over and finding love in the unlikeliest places. And that's all I'm going to read, really. This looks adorable. I'm really excited about it. I was kind of planning on reading it like before the end of the month. I've got 1.5 books left from my July TBR for the Books in Bargains readathon, which I need to finish. One of which I'll finish today. The other one is for some reason dragging, but I don't want to put it down. I'll explain it when I wrap it up. So if I can, how rude, I'm filming, I will read this. The text is quite big and it's like just under 400 pages. So I probably can. So you may well see this wrapped up. If I manage to pick anything else up before the end of the month, it will be this. Was there anything? Oh yeah, it was this lovely forest green under the dust jacket, very pretty. So yeah, I was very excited about that one. And then, as you'll have already seen from the picture that I put up, I also bought A Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J Maas. This was half price. I got this for like £4. And I've had so many people over the years like either tell me to read this, I recommend it, or ask me to read it because they think it'll be funny. I don't know how I feel about it. I don't think I've ever read a Sarah J Maas, and lots of people love her. And lots of people love this series. Chloe is like, if you go in with like no expectations, you'll probably enjoy it. So I will do that. And I feel like it's going to be perfect. Like switch your brain off, quick, like 2000s styly read. How long is this? It's like just over 400 pages. The text, however, is not that small. But yeah, I don't know when I'll get to this. I won't get it to in August because my August TBR is already set. So probably September. But I thought for £4, like I couldn't say no. So I grabbed that one. Okay, that's the reading update. Today, as you can see, I'm in thumb mode. I have tidied the house. It's like 9 o'clock. I've tidied the house. Oh, you can see the clock up there. Put laundry on, which you can probably hear in the background. I've done some yoga. I've done a yoga with bird video, which I'll link in the description if you fancy it. It was a very gentle one. I really like it. Mostly just like stretching and breathing and stuff, and it's only about 10 minutes. So I've done that. I need to go deadhead and water the garden. I've got some Etsy orders to pack. If you are someone who's ordered from the Etsy shop, by the way, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And also, if you're someone who has ordered from the shop and then left me a review, double thank you. Thank you so very much. So I've got some Etsy orders to pack. I want to do some like Instagram stuff today, just planning out some content, taking pictures and stuff. And then reading. I feel much more like myself today. I don't know if I've mentioned it already. I don't think I did, but like I've just been feeling some kind of way the last week or so, and I feel like I'm starting to feel a bit better today, which is good. Weekend plans, we have none, which is glorious. Weather looks questionable, but we'll probably get out on the motorbike at some point. There'll probably be a brunch involved, and then I picked Charlie up on Monday for a week with him. So yeah, lots of nice things happening, and today I'm just going to kind of potter around and get a few things ticked off the list that needs doing. I'm also debating redoing my bookshelves, which I think I need talking out of because that's a big job. They do need a clean. I'm just sat like right next to them so I can see just how much they need to clean. Do I want to redo them at the same time? Maybe. I guess we'll see. So yeah, that's the update. I'm officially waffling. I'm going to go away now and I'll see you in a minute. And that's almost all of the books I read in the month of July. It is now the 1st of August. I'm coming in to wrap up the wrap up. I've got 6 books to talk to you about since I last spoke to you. And yes, again, I'm in thumb mode. I think I was wearing this headband when I spoke to you last. It has been washed, I promise. So yeah, it's now Thursday, she says confidently. It's definitely the 1st of August. Yeah, I think it's Thursday. And yeah, we had, I think when I last spoke to you, we were gearing up for our weekend together. We had a really lovely, Gary and I had a really lovely Saturday morning, went for brunch, all that good stuff. Then Saturday afternoon, I got some upsetting family news, which I can't talk about because it's not my story to tell. Also, disclaimer, I've got all of the windows open because it was 32 degrees here yesterday. I think it's like 9 in the morning and it's already like 24 degrees. So there will be background noise and my neighbours are being obnoxiously loud as usual. So apologies for that. Yeah, I got some upsetting family news and that's not my story to tell, so I won't be talking about it, but just know that there's some stuff going on in the background. Gary, Charlie and I are fine, and the person concerned will also be fine. It's just a bit upsetting in the meantime. So that's kind of taken over the week really. Picked Charlie up on Monday, took him for breakfast, then went off to do some family stuff. More family stuff Tuesday, and then yesterday we picked up Charlie's best friend. We went to Bristol, we went to Zaza's. The boys that loved it. I thought they would, but it was really fun watching them like explore all the food options and see some of their rather creative plates that they were putting together. And then we spent a little bit of time at Cabot's, but it was so hot. It was, like I said, it was like 34 degrees. So we came back and they chilled and went to the park and stuff, and I read a little bit, and yeah. And now it's the start of a fresh month. So let's talk about the books that I finished and then we'll do stats, etc. Oh, also just want to really quickly show you 2 things. First of all, quite a few of you recommended Clever Fox for my, is this Clever Fox? Yeah. For my teacher journal this year, my teacher planner. And I've gone for a smaller one. I've traditionally had like the bigger, like bigger than A4 size, but I thought I would try an A5 size this time. And I'm really pleased with this. I'll put the link for it below. I think it was like £12 on Amazon, and it's got all the layouts that I want and just like, you know, just teacher stuff that I need, planning grids. It also comes with a load of stickers. I don't know if I'll use the stickers. They look very American centered. You've got like Thanksgiving break and stuff on there, but some of them are quite fun and, you know, I might use them. But yeah, I'm really pleased with this. When it arrived, it feels like really good quality, and yeah, it's also my teaching planner journal for the next school year. I was also very lucky to be sent an ARC by Book Break, which I definitely should have opened on camera, but I was having a horrible day. I saw the Book Break envelope and I was like, I'm opening that, and they've sent me A Pirate's Life for Tea, which is the second book by Rebecca Thorne. The first one is You Can't Swallow Treason Without Tea. This is out in October. Yeah, just in October 2024, and I'm going to be buddy reading this with Charlotte next month because she also got one. Yeah, I'm really excited for this, but I'm not even going to like read the back or anything because obviously it is the sequel. I loved the first one. I love the green of this cover, and yeah, I was really excited for that to come in. Right, let's talk about books I finished. I have got my trusty blue notebook. I clearly like a blue notebook, just to help me remember exactly what star rating I gave each book. So the first one I finished was Friday I'm in Love by Cameron Garrett. This was one of the books that Charlotte kindly sent me last month. Gorgeous, gorgeous cover. I mean, I'm obsessed with that cover. I really loved Full Disclosure by this author. In this one, we're following Mahalia, and she is throwing herself a coming out party, but it's difficult because her and her mum are living in poverty. And I really like the way this looked at the pressure on young people to meet certain milestones and have certain things like a sweet 16 or a coming out party. I really liked the way it showed her friendship with her best friend and how that kind of goes through flux and change as they're growing up, and also her best friend is from a much wealthier family and her friend like unintentionally does things that are hurtful sometimes. I also liked the way it kind of explored her relationship with her mother. She's very much a young carer for her mother. And her dad is kind of in and out of her life as well, and I really enjoyed all of that. There's also a really cute female romance in this, and yeah, I think I gave this 4 stars. Yeah, 4 stars. It didn't hit me emotionally like Full Disclosure did, but it's one of those books where I'm so glad it exists in the world, and this will be going into my school library for sure. So yeah, really enjoyed that one. Oh, hiccup. 4 stars. Then I had a DNF, and I decided to DNF the series. So I loved the first book in the series. The first book in the series, one of my favourite books of all time. It's stunning. I kind of dragged myself through the second book earlier this year, possibly, or last year. And I got 250 pages into this book, which is about halfway, and I just thought, I'm just not enjoying it. I don't want to pick it up. So I decided to DNF it. And that is Peaches for Monsieur Liqueur by Joanne Harris, which is part of the Chocolat Quartet. I just wasn't enjoying this. It felt really boring and slow and repetitive and felt like I'd read it before. Her writing is gorgeous. The food descriptions are perfect. I just wasn't feeling any connection to the story. So I had to DNF this, and I'm really sad about it, but sometimes that's just how it goes. Then I picked up, I felt like I needed a change because I've read a lot of romance this month, which I've really enjoyed, but I was like, I need something grittier. So I decided to pick up The Devil's Advocate by Steve Kavanagh, which you saw me open earlier this month. I think this was Michelle, wasn't it? Yeah, lovely Michelle sent me this. Thank you so much to Michelle for this. This is the 7th book in the Eddie Flynn series. So I can't really tell you much about it, but they are procedurals set in America, and we're following Eddie Flynn, who starts the series out as a con artist and becomes like a private detective and then eventually a lawyer. And in this one, it just says he's won every trial because he's behind every murder, and that's kind of all I really want to tell you. I gave the 3.5 stars. I enjoyed this. It wasn't as like twisty-turny shocking as other Steve Kavanagh books are that I've read, but it was definitely perfect for what I needed at the time. So again, Michelle, thank you so much for sending me this. I'm really glad I got to read it. 3.5, it was fine. I feel like it won't be as memorable as a lot of the others, but I'm glad I read it, and I'm excited to carry on with the rest of the series. I think there's like 2 more books for me to read at some point, so that's really good. Then I picked up The Spell Shop by Sarah Beth Durst. So I bought this when I was out with Chloe earlier this month, as you saw. Sometimes when you're a reader, you pick up a book at the exact perfect time for you to read that book, and that's what happened with this. This is gorgeous. This is 5 stars. This is, look at this cover for a start, and yes, that is a cat with wings. There are flying cats in this book. Look at this cottage. I want to live right here. I'm obsessed. And we are following, why do I not remember names? Keela, who is a librarian in this big city. This is a fantasy book, if you couldn't tell from the flying cat. And there is a revolution, and she has to run away with Kaz, who is her library assistant, who is also a sentient spider plant. Yes, there are talking plants in this book, more than one. So her and Kaz run away, and they jump in a boat, and they manage to save a few books, some of the books from the library, and they sail away. And they go back to where Keela has come from, her original island, where her parents live. Her parents have died a few years previously, but she knows that they had a house on the island. So her and Kaz go back, and they re-inhabit this cottage, and it goes from there. And that's all I will say. This is gorgeous. It's cozy. It's found family. There's a romance. There's magical creatures. There are unicorns in this. There are mermaids in this. Like I said, there are flying cats. There's a cactus that comes to life. There's earth magic. There's all of the stuff basically that I love. Like, this book could have been written for me. And she says in her author's note at the back that she wanted to write, let me find it. She wanted to write a book. She says, this book began with hot chocolate. It was November, a little bit chilly, not quite cold enough to justify hot chocolate, especially the really good hazelnut hot chocolate that uses 3 overflowing tablespoon-sized scoops. But I made myself a mug anyway, sat down on my computer and thought, I want to write a book that reads like drinking hot chocolate, or eating really good raspberry jam, or a fresh baked pastry with hot chocolate and maybe some raspberry jam on the side. I wanted to write a book that felt like a warm hug, and that is what this is. If you've enjoyed things like Legends and Lattes, Can't Spell Treason Without Tea, like that whole genre, you will love this. I just thought it was gorgeous. The writing was beautiful. She's written lots of other stuff. I've looked at her backlist. I don't think her backlist is for me, but anything else that she writes that's adult, cozy fantasy, I will be snapping up, because this was fantastic. This was also perfect time for me to read because I was not feeling brilliant mentally. This was like a warm, cozy hug. I'm genuinely sad I finished reading it. I feel like I'm going to reread it really soon, and these characters are definitely going to stay with me. So yeah, 5 out of 5, absolutely no notes. I loved it, loved it, loved it, loved it. And then finally, late last night, I finished Noughts and Crosses by Mallory Blackman. I've read this lots of times before. Well, I've read the play lots of times before. I teach the play to year 8, so I've taught it 4 times now. And I previously read and studied the Noughts Across You series when I was doing my creative writing in my master's in creative writing. And I love this. I gave this 4.5 stars. I'm excited to carry on with the rest of the series. In case, Sav is now trying to get out of the room. In case you haven't heard of this book, this is a world in which racism has been flipped on its head. So the crosses are at the top of society, and they are the black members of society, and the white members of society, the Noughts, they're at the bottom. And we are following Seffi and Callum, and it's a loosely reimagined or modernised Romeo and Juliet. That's all I would say. Dystopian fiction, I guess, or speculative fiction. Really interesting. Got loads to say about racism, obviously, but also sexism and misogyny and toxic masculinity and terrorism. And I feel like this explains it really well for its audience. I gave it 4.5. I think there's a lot of, we kind of go through a lot of time period really quickly in this, and some of it I wanted it to slow down slightly, but I realised that I'm not the actual intended audience. So yeah, 4.5 stars. I really enjoyed it, and I'm very much looking forward to carrying on with this series. And like I said, this copy will go into the library at my school. Okay, let's do stats, and then you can go on your merry way. So number of books read, I finished 16 books in July, which is fantastic, and I read 5,386 pages, or 174 per day. If you didn't know, I'm going to attempt 31 and 31 in August, which means I need to double my page count. Not terrifying at all. My average star rating was 4.16, so I had a really, really good month. My favourite read has definitely got to be The Spell Shop. I did also love Like Farms, but this one has just absolutely captured my heart, so it had to be my favourite read of the month. Most disappointing, this might be a bit controversial because it's not my lowest rated, although I've said that before. I've had other months where it's not been my lowest rated. Creen Bee, gave it 4 stars. I love the writing style and I love Juno Dawson. This is just a bit disappointing because I feel like I'm not really going to remember it, and I still don't understand how it connects in with HMRC. So unfortunately, this is going to be my most disappointing of the month. Am I going to keep it on my shelves? Yes, I absolutely am. But it just didn't hit for me. My TBR sits at 38 books, which means we are down by 1 on June. My oldest book on the TBR is The X-Hex, which I got in January, which I will definitely be reading in August. I had 2 DNFs. Oh, it's not Sav, it's Molly. Where did she even come from? I swear this cat is a ninja. She just appears out of nowhere. Bless you. I don't know if you heard the cutest little sneeze in the world. Although, having said that, she did kill a bird yesterday. A full-grown, full-size black bird. And dragged it in by herself. So she's not as cute as she looks. Sorry, I had 2 DNFs this month, so Rewind and then Peaches from Ensure Liqueur. And then balancing the books, I had 11 books out. I read 16, but some of those are rereads or audiobooks that weren't physically on my TBR. I had 13 books come in, most of which I bought myself, which means obviously I had 2 more in than out. And my year to date is 5 more in than out, but I'm very much hoping to correct that in August. So yeah, that's July. It's been a weird one. It's been busy. It's been the end of another school year. It's been fun. It's been stressful. We've had the start of summer holidays. I've read some good books, had some great food, had some lovely times with friends and family, and we'll see what August has in store for us. So yeah, August is obviously the month where I'm off completely. So there's likely to be 2 vlogs because I don't like them to get too long. I think last August it was like 5 hours of vlog content over the month, so obviously split it into 2, so it'll be at least 2 books. I'm going to 2 books, 2 vlogs. I will attempt the 31. I'll link that video in the description if I haven't already, and if you want to follow along and see how I'm doing, I will also link the StoryGraph challenge that I've set up. There's I think 15 of us in there, which is really exciting. So if you want to follow there, you can. I will also be posting daily updates on Instagram, which is always linked in the description. And then yeah, obviously you will see the August vlogs when they come up. The first one I think is scheduled for the last weekend in August, over my birthday weekend, and then the second one will be obviously the first weekend in September as usual. So yeah, that's all the stuff that's going on. If you got to this point in the video, leave me a plant emoji for this gorgeous cover, and also because it's all earth-based magic in the Spell Shop. So yeah, leave me your favourite plant emoji to let me know you got to the end. Please subscribe if you'd like more of this chaos, and I will see you in the next one. Thanks everyone. Bye.